Vampires versus the Bronx. This movie was, I think this movie was The Lost Boys, done by Spike Lee. It wasn't done by Spike Lee and it wasn't The Lost Boys, but it put me in the mind of what if Spike Lee had done The Lost Boys, right? It had a lot of The Lost Boys feel, the old vampire movie. And these kids were like the Frog Brothers, who I thought should have gotten their own spinoff to the Lost Boys. And like Lost Boys 3 or something like that, they got their thing. But I think if they would have done a actual, they could do it today. They could do a modern Lost Boys with, the Frog Brothers, because they were really the ones that showed everybody how to kill the vampires. That's what this was to me. It's the Bronx. It's three kids that know about vampires. They learn about vampires. Actually, a little bit from watching the Blade movie, which should not have really done anything for them, but they watched the Blade movie, they learn from other people. There's a Haitian chick. They all put all of this knowledge that they have together, and they go hunt vampires that are moving into their neighborhood. And there was a movie, 30 Days of Night. And in that movie, I thought it was really smart that the vampires went to Alaska because they were going to be 30 days of darkness and they could be out doing whatever. Just imagine vampires that don't have to can only attack you in the daytime, but they can attack you 24 hours in a 24-hour period because there's no day, there's just night. That was masterful. They went there so that they could avoid the sun. In this movie, the vampires are thinking ahead and they're doing a different thing so they could avoid a different hindrance. And I thought that was smart. I thought that was good. I thought it was well thought out. It wasn't terribly well worked out as far as the acting. I mean, they had, what's his name, Chris Redd was in it from Saturday Night Live, and they had Method Man was in it. Both of them had little bitty teeny tiny parts, but it was still pretty good. Vampires move into the Bronx because they think, the rest of America doesn't care too much about what happens in the Bronx, into the local neighborhoods and the bodegas and, all that kind of stuff. So they're like, we're going to take over the Bronx. So vampires are moving in. But they weren't prepared for the modern day Frog Brothers. I'm going to call them the Frog Brothers because in the Lost Boys, those were the Frog Brothers and they fought the vampires. Not the two that had just moved in, but the two kids that helped them. They were the Frog Brothers. And I think that these kids were the modern Frog Brothers. This movie had a really, really, really big Spike Lee kind of a feel to it. And I dig Spike Lee. Spike Lee is a great director. He's a pretty good actor. And this movie felt like that. It was primarily about the kids and the angles and the little, you got a narrator in the movie, but she was built into the movie. So it wasn't like, you just had a voiceover by Morgan Freeman and he was just like telling you things that was happening. This chick would pop up and she would say things, and she was a modern day vlogger, and she had her little camera and everything, and she would say things like, do these look like coffins? And you'd be like, yeah, those do look like coffins. She was kind of narrating, but she was also woven in to the story. And I thought that was really good. They had a lot of really good things here. I just don't think they had enough time or maybe money or something. There was something missing that made it a big hit. But just the same, it was still good. I think it was good. So the vampires move into the neighborhood. They have to take over the neighborhood. The kids find out about what's going on. They have a couple confrontations with the vampires and they survive them. Not everybody in the movie survives the vampires, which was good too. It can't be a action, thriller, horror, comedy type deal without there being a little bit of horror. Somebody's got to go. So the kids have a lot on their plate. They got the vampires, They got the local gang bangers. They got the gangs or whatever they were. They got a lot of stuff. They got mom and pop tripping and stuff. And man, it was good. I enjoyed it. You could watch it with kids. It is a horror movie, but it's not so scary that kids are gonna be like, oh my God, and run out of the room and having nightmares through the night. It had a horror aspect, but it wasn't just a horror movie. It had horror woven into the fabric of the movie, but it was a kid's adventure movie, and it was good. It was so good for me that I would give it, wasn't great, but it was good. I would give it 6 bags of popcorn. Man, 6 bags of popcorn, because that's what I think about that. Have you seen it? Would you compare it to The Lost Boys? What were the comparisons? What were the takeaways? Did you dig it at all? Let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.